Assalamu alaikum, 9th class. This is your Pakistan studies lesson. You know that we are on chapter number 1, that is ideological basis of Pakistan. Today the topic of discussion is foundation and components of the ideology of Pakistan. We have already discussed its first 4 elements. First one was religion Islam and belief in Tawheed. Second one was Islamic code of life. Third element was Islamic concept of sovereignty. Fourth was social justice and equality. Today we will discuss its fifth element, that is Islamic democracy. An Islamic state is founded on democratic principles, but the concept of Islamic democracy is different from the Western democracy. We already know that an Islamic state runs on democratic norms, but the concept of Islamic democracy is totally different from Western democracy. According to Islamic democracy, only the capable, truthful, careful, and pious persons have the right of public representativeness. The rights of minorities are also guaranteed in an Islamic society. The Holy Quran says that all issues of Muslims are solved through mutual consultation. That is why we can say that mutual consultation is very important in Muslim society. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, always asked the opinion of his venerable companions, of his very close friends on every important occasion. During the period of Orthodox caliphs, Majlis Shura consisted of venerable companions of Prophet, peace be upon him, was established. And why was it established? It was established for consultation of the caliphs on important issues. At the time of elections of the caliph, opinion of the public representatives was also sought, and responsibility of this important position was entrusted to a capable person. After the election, the representatives of different groups and clans of Muslims used to take off allegiance on the hands of caliph, that they took oath of loyalty. So this whole practice was the best example of a democratic way of election. The elected caliph was discharging responsibilities of rule within the limitations of divine law, and he was responsible for his decisions and actions before his public after Almighty Allah. We know that Muslims of Indo-Pak subcontinent desired for their separate and autonomous state, where they can establish a system according to the Islamic principles of democracy. As a result of this struggle, Pakistan came into being, where the elected representatives are bound to use ruling powers within the defined limitations of God, limitations of Allah. And constitution of our country is the image of Islamic democratic society. The last element of the components of Pakistan ideology is equal rights of minorities. Non-Muslim citizens of an Islamic state have an equal social status with the Muslim citizens. They have the right of preserving their language, their culture, their place of worship. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah told in his speech delivered on 11th of August 1947 before the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan, He said that you are free to go to your temples, to go to your mosque and other places of worship in the country of Pakistan. You may belong to any religion, you may belong to any sect or faith. It has nothing with the affairs of the state. It has no concern with the affairs of the state. We are taking start from the basic principle that we are all equal citizens of one country. So in Pakistan, Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Parsis, people of other religions are granted equal rights. They are working with the Pakistani Muslims for the development and stability of Pakistan. Next topic is about two nation theory. In order to understand the two nation theory, we should study the history of the Muslims in South Asia. The Muslim rule was established in subcontinent in early 8th century AD and continued till 1858 when the last Mughal king Bahadur Shah Zafar was dethroned. During this period, the majority of Muslim rulers did justice with their Muslim and non-Muslim subjects. By the 18th century, the Mughal Empire had begun to crumble. The British had gained entry into the Indo-Pak subcontinent through the East India Company. This was a trading company, but taking advantage of the political situation, they started interfering in the political arena. They soon became a powerful political force, gaining control of many areas of India. So the Muslim rule finally ended with the formal annexation of the subcontinent by the British Crown in 1858. So Zayd Ahmad Khan was the first Muslim leader who gave the vision that Hindus and Muslims are two different nations. Their living together for a long time is impossible because of clear differences between them. At beginning, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was a great supporter of Hindu-Muslim unity. But with the passage of time, some events like Hindu-Urdu controversy made Sir Syed Ahmad Khan that the Hindu-Muslim unity was nothing but a crazy dream. His mind was changed in 1867 when Hindus of Banaras started movement against Urdu. Hindus were against Urdu because this language was developed during Muslim rule and its writing in Arabic and Persian script. Both things were not acceptable to Hindus. So, at that time, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan clearly said that two big nations lived in India, Hindus and the Muslims. Their interests were in contrast to each other. Their customs, their traditions, and even their religions were quite different from each other. Their political thoughts were also not the same. So, the two nation theory forced the Muslims of India to think why they should not follow the specific way for a permanent solution to the Hindu-Muslim problems.